Elder gods, eldritch abominations from beyond the stars, conquerors, monsters, and deities that lord over all of mankind, and also they're kind of done wrong, like a lot, like a lot, and that's why today it's time to stop Eldritch abominations. Hello, everybody. I am Kyle. I am the Dork. You're watching Desks and Dorks, and it's time to stop, baby. It's our series where we talk about tropes in RPGs that I find loathsome or irksome. I'd like them to change. I'd like them to stop. And so I provide some solutions to those things as both an avid RPG player and RPG writer. And this one was inspired by my good friends Matt and my good friend Chris, who are part of the Symphony Discord. I have gotten to play some Call of Cthulhu with those two fine gentlemen, and they're awesome, and they have inspired this episode where I talk about Eldritch abominations. Full disclosure, when I talk about Eldritch creatures, I'm talking specifically of monsters that have been inspired by or draw inspiration from the works of H.P. Lovecraft, a topic on which I actually feel like I have some degree of expertise, as I wrote a paper in college that got selected by the Academic Language Association of America about The Whisperer in Darkness, which is an H.P. Lovecraft short story, and I was able to present my findings to the conference at Harvard, which is kind of cool. Yeah, I know, right? It's weird. I have like actual literary chops or something, right? But yeah, I actually got a chance to present this, so I can actually present on H.P. Lovecraft and Eldritch abominations in general with some degree of authenticity, which is kind of cool, and expertise, why not? So for those of you who are brand new to this series, here's how it works. I find a trope, in this case, Eldritch abominations. I talk about why it's not run correctly, and then I give you some ways that I think it should be run correctly. Now, everybody loves these guys. It is impossible to talk about the Tentacled Friends without talking about their impact on both fantasy and popular culture. The issue is, if you want to do them correctly, it's very difficult. The problem with Eldritch abominations in general is that a lot of times writers and game masters will tip their hands and they'll show you a little too much, or they'll do a little too much. And if you read the classic H.P. Lovecraft, or if you enjoy any of his contemporaries, one of the things that you will notice is that they never really quite give you all of the answers, and they never quite let you feel fully comfortable in what you have done and what you have faced. And so, in keeping with the spirit of that, I am going to talk about how you can make Eldritch abominations work in your RPG campaigns. The first thing that I would recommend is that you should never get the full picture of the monster. You should have the party only fighting aspects of it or facets of the monster, but never the full thing. If you really want to, you can give them maybe a temporary glimpse of its full potential, but I would never allow the party to actually fight the creature itself or even achieve some sort of lasting success over the creature itself. To do so is to rob this monster of its gravitas, of its storytelling potential, and frankly of its mythos, of its mystique, right? It is one thing to have the party vanquish a tentacle of Cthulhu, but it's another thing entirely to have it beat Cthulhu. I think one of those things is interesting and can still keep the tension. The other one of those things is not particularly something that you can do or have work in any meaningful capacity. So, the other thing is that I would try to encourage you to play around with the loss of sanity. Some people choose to shy away from this, but I think if everyone is okay and they're on board with the use of sanity as a mechanic, I still think it's a great thing to do in board gaming, and I think it's something that should carry over into the actual way the game is played. For example, if all of a sudden you make low rolls instead of high rolls succeed, that is a really interesting way to screw around with your players. If you, for example, every single encounter swap hit points or whatever your RPG's equivalent of hit points are, that is another interesting way to really make your players start to sweat. If you change the way that the rules work, each encounter, I think what you're going to do is create a sense of tension and a feeling of dread that is going to coincide with the way that the characters in this world feel like they're losing their grasp on reality. Last but certainly not least, my biggest thing that I would encourage is for you to showcase the powers of this being through their cultists. This is the biggest and most important thing that I would like to stress. For example, if you have this big crustacean-y boy, right here, then perhaps its cultists have some sort of armored carapace that makes them harder to hurt physically. If you are working with something like the Cthulhu-esque monster, having its cultists act like, with multiple actions because they have multiple different tentacles that are capable of doing things, that's a really interesting thing to do as well. But allowing the physical, or the human, I should say, servants of these elder gods serve as representations of and as extensions of that power is a really great way to encourage the use of awesome Eldritch abominations. I know this is a shorter version of its time to stop, but again, I've been playing around a little bit with the editing and the music and some of the production value, so hopefully you all enjoyed this one. If you have, I would encourage you to give us a like, share, comment, subscribe. All the YouTube stuff really does help us out. And if you really, truly, desperately want to help us out and help us keep making videos and keep the lights on, you can go in the description below. You can get yourself a copy of March of the Mushwinds. It's our rules light, storytelling heavy RPG. We are now officially fully funded on Kickstarter, so you are going to be able to get that game, and we would really encourage you to go out and reach it. We don't have a Patreon, we have nothing like that. We feel like if you want to support us, you should still get something for it. And so if you would like to support us financially, the best way to do that is to buy our games. Again, you can back us on Kickstarter, or if you're already in the market for a game that has already been published, you're like, Kyle, don't like crowdfunding, that's totally okay. You can check us out over at our friends on World of Game Design. You can actually buy A Fear Within or After the Rain, two games that actually lend themselves very well to Eldritch abominations. But until next time, folks, I am Kyle Ott for Desks and Dorks. You have been fantastic. This has been It's Time to Stop, and that's something that happens here every single Thursday. Until next time, I will see you later. But you've all been amazing. Peace.